Just got some information here for on LED lighting, because everybody's kind of like, hey, what's this LED lighting? Why am I hearing so much about that? And why can't I find regular light bulbs anymore? In 2007, EPA started a whole bunch of changes, which put lighting manufacturers on the defensive, and they're kind of figuring out ways to make stuff work better. 2012 is when they phased out the 100-watt light bulb. This year they've phased them out ever since, and this year was the last year, December 31st of 2013, so is the last date for manufacture for the 60-watt light bulbs. Everybody's been saying, well, I've tried the compact fluorescents, they kind of worked. I had some of them that worked for a day, some of them that worked for a year, and they're supposed to get like 6 or 8 or 7 years, and I'm not getting that. Has to do with design, has to do with build, has to do with how stuff is made. The cool thing is that while the CFL movement has been going on, the LED development has been just phenomenal. Slowly but surely we're seeing a lot of the stuff come out now. The thing that everybody's been trying to do is trying to create a 60-watt light bulb that looks like a 60-watt light bulb, or 40-watt, or 75-watt, and everybody's like, well, I don't like it, it doesn't look quite right. I'm just going to show you a few of those, just to kind of show you what's out there right now. This is something from... a lot of people make something like this. There's a design issue with this type of light bulb. One is you're only going to get about 40 watts of light out of this style. Equivalent light output. And we've been talking about watts and watts and watts for so many years, but what we're really talking about lighting. How much light am I actually getting? Well, here's a chart for you, a little simple chart that kind of, I'm going to try to explain a little more of this. A couple of short charts. When we talk about a 40-watt light bulb or a 60-watt light bulb or a 75-watt light bulb, what we're talking about, well, Watts talks about power. Oops, sorry. But we're really not talking about power when we talk about light bulbs. What we're really talking about is lumens. A 60-watt light bulb produces about 800 lumens, 830, 850, 750, depending on the manufacturer. This is the equivalent of the 40-watt light bulb. This right here is about a 450-watt light bulb, 450 lumen light bulb. This puts out, the equivalent to what was the old 40-watt light bulb. You can still get the 40 watts. And this was as much as they were able to produce, many manufacturers, out of this design. The big problem and expense that people didn't like was the fact that that manufacturers had to use a lot of aluminum to keep the heat down. So they needed heat sinks and stuff like that, which made the light bulb very expensive. This is $40, $45 2 years ago. Here's something that's from feet. This is an omnidirectional is what they call it. The other problem was we weren't able to, the manufacturers weren't able to make light go in many different directions. This one here is called an omnidirectional, so what they've done, you can still see the heat sinks and whatnot, but they try to produce light both up and down out of this style. So if you have a table lamp or something like that, you're going to get light shining in all directions, and I'm sorry if it's a little bit bright. I'll dim that down. And that was the other problem with compact fluorescents. You didn't have the ability to dim, or not as good. So these are nearly instant on, and you can dim them down. This one now is available, it's a Costco and Menards for about $8, $9. And this is the equivalent. You're getting a 800 lumens out of this lamp here. LED lamps love any temperature just about until you get really extreme hot. Outside, most of them are rated for outdoor use. Inside a globe fixture, any place that you've put incandescent before, generally you're going to be able to put an LED. The heat, it's not going to, you're not going to create more heat from an LED than you did from an incandescent. The big reason that we're talking about LEDs now is that the incandescent light bulb that's been around forever, 90% of electricity that's used to light, 90% actually is creating heat. Only 10% is actually creating light. So the LEDs are much more efficient in that respect because they're creating 90% light and 10% heat for the same amount for what the wattage is.
So if you have a lampshade that says don't use more than a 60-watt bulb, how do you translate that into an LED?
With that, the chart, that's a 60-watt bulb that produces 800 lumens. You're going to want to look for something that makes 800 lumens.
Because I thought it was for the heat produced by a 60-watt bulb.
Right.
And would a 1600 lumens produce heat? I mean, I thought the LEDs were so much cooler.
They are. Oh, significantly cooler. Yep.
Don't you want to go by the wattage? Because they'll say equivalent to, 23 watts is equivalent to a 60-watt bulb or whatever it is.
Right.
That's what's important because it's the energy draw is why they say don't use over 40 or 60 because the wiring of
It's the energy draw and the heat depending on the manufacturer, depending on the fixture. But typically, in that respect, yes. And you could have a lot of watts going in there on an LED or a compact fluorescent, but typically an LED. I'm just going to show you a couple different other styles here. This is more of a candelabra style for chandeliers and that kind of stuff. This is a TCP. These ones are $15 to $20 now. They make a little bit different glass on it, so you can get a little bit different effect, that little sparkly effect.
And you can use the incandescent and those together. I mean, since it's expensive, I was kind of gradually replacing.
I would suggest it, yeah, once in a while. I would say do one, see how you like it, work it, do the next one. Let me show you one, just got, one more lamp here. This is an old style, and I call it old style. This is 2 years old, and it's outdated at this point. This was Philips, and this was about $40 2 years ago. And it was kind of weird because it, you get it and it's yellow and it kind of doesn't look right. But it does produce nice light when it's actually lit, and it is fully dimmable. Very, extremely well made. This was rated #1 2 years ago. You won't see these probably in about a year, because they're obsolete at this point.
And now they're all supposed to last a long time.
You're going to get many more years out of them. Philips took, with the CFLs, right. You're going to get it with the LEDs. CFLs had design issues due to the type of manufacturers that were producing them. LEDs are getting better because the manufacturers are putting them down at a lower cost now, and they're the mainline manufacturers. This was Philips, like I was saying, this was Philips' old light bulb 2 years ago. This was the best thing on the market. You won't be able to get this one quite yet, but Philips took all their knowledge and all their technology and created this. Kind of looks weird, but it's this one will be available in a week. March 1st, it's going to hit Home Depot.
Well, what about, lampshades that fit on the top of bulbs? I mean, what about something like that?
Same size. As far as the ones that snap on, I don't know about that. That's a good question.
I mean, rounder ones seem like
Yeah, maybe a different style lamp. So, yeah.
You know what this
This is starting under $10. It's $9.95, $9.97. That's before incentives from utility. That's before rebates. That's before anything else that comes out.
What is this for lumens?
800. Actually, I'm just.
Does that come with your school? There's no heat, is there heat sink cabinet?
No. That's part of the design that makes this possible, is because they took away the expense of the heat sinks by moving the LEDs out to the outside. It creates a natural heat sink. So without having to use as much materials, they're able to produce the same type of lighting for less money as a product, putting it in your hands much easier and much less expensive. Yeah, right under $10 is where their retail price is, and then you get potentially rebates from utilities, rebates from manufacturers, rebates from who knows what, but there'll be a few dollars off, I'm sure.
What is the life expectancy?
This one says 22 on the manufacturer stuff, 22 years. That's based on 3 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Now, do you have to dispose of these LEDs, like, you know, the compact fluorescents have to go to recycling?
Take them back to Home Depot, take them back to Menards, to Lowe's, wherever you bought them, they'll take them back. Yeah, there's electronics in them. I mean, these are what they call RoHS compliant, so everything will break down in these, but you should still take care of it just like electronics.
One of the disadvantages of the CFL is an on-off. It's never on very long if it's turned on and off at the time.
Yep.
Is that impacted by that? Because you know that the incandescent unit, it can handle a lot of cycles.
It can handle a lot more cycles. They're essentially using the same technology in these that they use for stoplights. Stoplights have been converted to LED, most stoplights, I'll say that, about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So you've seen stoplights, and how many cycles do they go through? On, off, every day, all day, many times an hour. They're using the same technologies and same components that makes that work is what makes this work. The electronics are very, the same durability. So when they rate stuff, obviously they haven't run these for 22 years, with on-off switching, but they do run them in factory settings. They do run them with EPA standards, Energy Star compliance. To get those, they can't just print that on a box, if you will. So they need to put it in there with some reasonable lab testing, and they do that to produce that. And yeah, and they've had compact fluorescent LEDs in my house, and yeah, the LEDs are way outlasting the compact fluorescents when you talk installations and how long they last. So obviously you're going to find a few off-brand manufacturers, and the LEDs aren't going to last as long. But there's some, when you get down to a Philips or a TCP or a Sylvania who's putting out LEDs now, those are mainline manufacturers. Their equipment's good, their warranties are good. The warranty on this alone is 3 to 5 years. Most manufacturers are going to be 3 to 5 years, so if it goes out within 3 to 5 years, you're going to be able to take it right back and replace it. Any more questions on this style? Okay. Yeah, so these do offer a lot more cool stuff. There's a couple wonderful things that LEDs also produced for us that you can't exactly do with incandescents. But because LEDs are so small and so simple to manufacture, produce light, to produce the same amount of light that we do with some other things. I'm just going to show you a couple different samples here. But this is a white. This would be like, you could use this for an undercounter light. You could use it for a toe kick. You could use it for uplighting. You'd use it almost anywhere. The channel literally is you know, 1/4 inch or less, so you can install this just about anywhere to create a neat effect.
Got it upside down. Oh,
Yeah. You know, and they can produce this. This is a.
Does that go out there?
I'll get to that in a sec. Good question.
and the temperature.
This is a white. This is a 5,000, I believe. 5,000 Kelvin. Let's get to a warm one. Here's a comparison. This one's a little bit less LEDs per strip, but this one is going to be closer to the warm white feeling that you get from an incandescent. Half the amount of LEDs, but as far as the light is actually different. It's a warmer color, warmer feel.
And you have to worry about any of the wiring in the walls? Like
Not with, you're gonna have to worry less because you're using so much less power. So you're, yeah, this is a low voltage. It's powered, it's an AC power transformer, putting a lower voltage to this. Some are going to be AC, some are going to be DC, depending on the manufacturer, depending on the fixture. But
So you can still wire those to the switch though?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's just a little bit of difference, and there's going to be various manufacturers with this. I'm going to give you a cool one here. So this is something that you can't do with an incandescent. That you can really, and you can't do with a compact fluorescent, but you can only do with an LED.
Hence my question about outdoors.
And this, you know, so if you want to have this color, this color, this color, this color, or all colors, and have a separate driver to power different components, you could actually do that. Again, different manufacturers, but this is something you can't do with an LED or a compact, or excuse me, can't do with an incandescent or an LED, or compact fluorescent or incandescent, excuse me.
With our regular screw-in bulbs, you know, we know to look for the Energy Star logo, you know, that it's a quality bulb.
Yep.
Is there a certification we should look for with buying that kind of lighting that will make us feel more confident we're getting a quality product?
It's going to be tougher right now with this style of lighting. I'm going to show you one that is, that I do suggest, and it's made under different manufacturer names. This is the same multicolor, but this is double the LEDs in the same space. So you get more.
Do they come in longer strips than that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's one LED blinking. They really last a long time. The red one there, about the 4th or 5th one in from the green. And the green's blinking now.
Yeah.
Well, there's one out, the 4th one in is out, 5th one is out.
Yeah, I think it's just the cord blocking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got glasses.
Oh no. Yeah. This has been.
I just thought, wait a minute.
Yeah, this has been a sample that's been around, been beaten up, and all that kind of stuff, twisted. And this you definitely can't do with an incandescent light bulb. But if you really wanted to do something like this, so there's your, you know, durability test per se.
What wattage are even just those short strips drawing?
You know, I couldn't even put a meter on it and read it. It's so small.
And the question on that whole voltage,
Mm-hmm.
how much loss is being transformed? Is the transformer getting pretty high?
The transformers are actually getting much, much better. They're no longer the magnetic style transformers. Well, I won't say not all manufacturers, but a lot of the manufacturers are now making electronic transformers, so that they're actually the drivers or transformers are actually matching the load. So they're actually reducing wattage when they don't need to be driven as hard, so they're actually not using as much power. But this one here, you know, is yeah, that's
So how can you tell if there's inflation transfer?
Energy Star. Yeah, you're gonna see Energy Star logos and everything.
Because I used to like the lights, just the lights,
Mhm.
because they were just so much nicer to use. But the transformers is very much you can keep the house.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna show you this one too. Now this one, exactly. You just want to stretch that one out and kind of reach it back across the room there. So there you go. Now this one here, it's available many places, but it is a Home Depot also available at Home Depot. This is outdoor rated. You can literally put this, if you had a koi pond and you want to light it up, you could actually run this inside a koi pond or something like that with the correct installation, of course. And this is a dimmable product. We can get it down to about 10%. It's a little bit heavier duty. You could try to twist this in knots and it's going to be okay. Kick that right back up.
That's nicer than the road light this summer.
Yeah. This is, you know, so if you want to do something different, we're no longer limited to a light bulb with LED.
Well, the road lights,
Yeah.
I don't know what's in them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this is a product that, like I say, you can install this under a cabinet, you can install it outdoor. I've actually seen installations done for commercial application for a mini golf course, so they could use a little have everything lit up at night. It's actually double-sided tape on the back, and I've actually used standard electrical staples to hold it in place. You know, just around it. Yep. Just don't drive through it. It is electronics.
So if the dog or cat chews one of these LED ropes, will they get electrocuted like old wires?
I don't know. I don't recommend it either way. Yeah, this is running at 24 volts. 24, yep.
Well, if are halogen lights just like if they have a gas?
Halogen is kind of our happy medium right now. Halogen is, they're using that as a gas inside of an incandescent now. You're getting more light with less energy, or the same light with less energy, excuse me, with the halogens. Halogen's going to be with us for a while. They're less expensive than the LED is right now. So it's kind of a happy medium, if you will.
Halogen or something like it, parking lots and that sort of stuff. The LEDs don't work from downtown.
For which?
LEDs don't work well for large parking lots or parking garages.
They're getting better. I'm actually seeing a lot more out there. They have to do it different than you would a traditional installation, but like a lot of parkways, instead of having the 35, 40, 45 foot lights, yeah, and then pouring all that light down, to get LED down, they're putting up a 20-foot light to get the light on the ground. So they're getting the light where you need it instead of light everywhere. So it's being more specific for sidewalks and parkways and that kind of stuff.
I was downstairs talking to someone who's a new law in Bloomington. Comes in effect in the house, officially back in 18. He said the LEDs, they just bought new ones for the Mall of America with silver. They're still using old type bulbs for halogens and stuff like that. But they're much more efficient than they used to be. He said the LEDs, so far they haven't seen one. Do an
Yeah.
area.
Yep. Yeah, to push that much light down. Right. Yep. So that's a design that actually brings me right into this. It's actually a change of the design or change of installation. And standard fixture. Everybody's used to this or seen it Home Depot or somewhere. Many have this exact same fixture in their house today. The cool thing about LED is that get it down to about there. Is that it looks like an incandescent fixture. Looks like the same fixture that's been installed. But this fixture is all LEDs. So when I talk about changes that are coming when we talk about LED, instead of replacing a light bulb as we're talking about, we're going to replace light fixtures. Instead of replacing a light bulb every 6 months or every year, we're going to replace light fixtures now once. This gets you 20 to 25 years. Replace it once and done. One of my kids graduate from college is about the time when you're going to be replacing the fixture, and that's about when this may be going out of style. Mm-hmm.
In 20 years, when these do finally reach the end of their life, is that when it'll be, you'll have to identify new fixture we want to put in that space?
Yeah, it'll be a replacing a fixture. We won't, I won't say never, but sooner than later, the actual light bulb concept is slowly fading away. Light bulbs that, that last only a few years or 10 years are the days are numbered.
So on that Phillips that you showed, the year of the Phillips, are the new Phillips equivalent more efficient than that? Or basically, does it go obsolete pretty quick? Or is it just
Nope,
cheap?
they're real close. It's just technology changes. It's just learning. This one is 12.5 watts. This one is 10.5 watts. Side by side, in a fixture like this that had actual sockets in it, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But so this one, I mean, you're saving almost.
And the fine print on that, which I shows this.
Yep.
It says, not for use in totally enclosed in the air.
Yep.
So
Gonna
if
depend
you've got
on the-
one of those globes, now that's totally enclosed, but it must have different heat sensors on it. So if you have a totally enclosed globe with three screws that hold it in place,
Right.
drop it down. If you have one of these inside, will that shorten the life?
It'll probably shorten the life a little bit. It's going to be a manufacturer by manufacturer deal on that one.
So what do they say? We do that, and let's see the sign on princess. Because if they've got it on the ball, then it might be there where they're saying, if it doesn't work for you there, there's
Yeah.
a warranty problem.
Yeah, that's my
They've
guess,
already
is that
warned
it probably cuts it way down. If they're gonna put it,
No, that's the,
longevity
It's
on
gonna
it, it's
change
totally
it some.
enclosed, not just
I
a
thought it
little.
would melt your globe.
But yeah, it's going to depend on the style, and that's one thing you're gonna want to look for, depending on the application. One might not even fit in the fixture because some of these designs are bigger. Well, some of these are physically bigger than a standard light bulb. Yeah, so everything is going to change a little bit. So it's going to be a fixture dependent or application dependent type thing.
I have those sunset light things.
Recess. Yep.
Recess, top, I don't know what they're called. But anyway, and one goes on and off all the time. Is that a heat thing? It's got regular
Regular bulbs in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a heat thing. Yep.
And is that built into the light bulb that it does that, or? is
It's
it
built into the fixture.
the-
Yep. Yep.
okay.
Yeah. Technically, it's called a click-on. A click-on. It's a heat sink that if the fixture gets too hot, it turns off the power. It's a design.
In my ceiling fan, it's got the candle off in the bulbs, and the vibrations cause them to off quickly. Now, is that a problem with the
Mm-mm.
LEDs?
No, I've no. Well, I can only speak from experience on this one. I have 2 children that run around my house all the time, and I've replaced compact fluorescents 2 to 3 times. Well, yeah, and then I put in LEDs, and I haven't replaced them since. So I can speak from experience on that. LEDs, there's very little components in here that actually have vibration issues.
Where do you use that on? Does that go in an ordinary fixture?
This one?
Yeah, the 5
Yeah, yep. This is a 60 watt replacement, so it's an 800 lumen lamp. So you can replace it with, you can almost, except for the ones that have the thing that snaps on the top.
Do they have three-way bulbs? Well, that's the thing on the lamp, isn't it? Determines whether it's a three-way
Yep.
lamp.
Yep. It's a bulb and a socket.
So are there three-way those?
Right now with LEDs, what they're saying is dimming. So right now, if you have a 3-way, you're going to want to, instead of having the 3-way capability, putting in a touch dimmer or a dimming module. You know, a lamp. This right here is a lamp dimmer, so you could actually put this in front of your lamp when you plug it in.
Should you use a specific type of leading edge, trailing edge, what is that, what makes that different?
It's going to be dependent on the fixture, or on the lamp, excuse me. The newer dimmers for the LEDs have the adjustability in them. So instead of dimming down your traditional all the way down to 0 or to 5 or 10%, you can set it based on the lamps that you're installing. So you can tweak it, so instead of dimming down to, say, the 5%, you're dimming down to 30% power consumption, which just sets your low and high differently. So that is going to depend. But this right here is an example of a lamp dimmer, where the lamp would just you'd plug this into the wall, and then you'd plug in the lamp to this. So you'd put in, I mean, this is a version of doing this. So you'd literally, if this was your lamp, plug that in here, and then you plug this into the wall. And then this provides your dimming. So where your 3-way, you're going to have a dimming application.
So that's how I get it, dimmer. I
Yep.
have on my new brick-way.
Or any new lamps that are made are going to have not any, but a lot of the new lamps are going to have the dimming built into them, a dimming module. It's a touch dimmer. So they might have 3 different levels. They've been doing that for, I don't know, 20 years now. It's just getting more and more common. Any other questions? Sorry.
On the fixture, that's, you have to wire that into the dump.
Yeah, this installs like a standard light fixture, yep. Oh yeah, and probably should have gave you a cost on this one. Just to kind of set you, at a level of kind of, this is a common style fixture. And typically these are, a fixture like this in an incandescent is $15, $20 at Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, any place like this. So with the LEDs and everything inside of it, this fixture actually sells at Costco for $30. So it's not like we're jumping $1 million here at this point. Because this is a pretty... This puts out the actual box. It's a... God, I can't even see it. What is it?
Says it on this side,
No.
1800 lumens.
Yeah. So 1800, so that's that's like 260 watt bulbs or 100 watt and a 60 watt together, or 275s, or not quite 275s, but so the lumens that this puts out are pretty close. We'll call it 260s. That'll get a 1600. So this is actually putting out more than 260 watt bulbs would. Oh no, I got to keep looking this one up because I don't want to get it wrong. 28 watts. 28 watts is comparable to what you would normally be 120 watts. Or not comparable to, but what you would have done not 2 years ago.
So I've been putting off hitting the LEDs partially. Well, I wasn't sure if the billboards becoming obsolete or not. They're saying basically they're not, they're trying to get a design race to do the price.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep, and one of them, like I say, there's more applications today than there was 2 years ago. There's more applications 2 years ago than there was 5 years before that. Things are changing so quickly that we're getting so many different choices now. So replacing the light bulb, it might be easier just to replace the fixture and be done with it.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
They're doing it with floodlights now, with emergent motion sensors. Dusk to dawn, recessed lights. Yep, recessed was one of the first ones, and those were incredibly expensive when they came out 4 years ago. We're talking $135 per light in a recessed light, and now that's under $30. It's under $30. I mean, the fixture's completely different. It doesn't have all the heat sink stuff on it because it doesn't need it. They redesigned them so they're less expensive, but they're just as good, if not better.
Was that like a 75 watt, like the incandescent that a recessed can?
Depending on the manufacturer, but yeah, real close to 60 to 65 to 75, somewhere in there is what they're aiming for. Yep.
So I presume the price isn't going to come down as dramatic.
Not as dramatic, no. Yeah, this, like I say, 2 years ago, $40. Its replacement is going to be under 10. That's in 2 years. We're not going to see, this isn't going to get, LEDs aren't going to really, you're not going to see the lamps really get below $5 in a long time, if ever.
Okay.
So I think we're at a real good point in time where cost versus installation versus energy savings, you're going to save a ton on electricity on LEDs.
Okay.
So, any other questions? All right.
Yeah.